Okay, so what is an inversion? Okay, so if we have our basic triad as we discussed before, going E, G, B, or root, third, fifth, okay, that's what's known as root position, okay? This is the root, this is the third, this is the fifth. Now, if we want to invert this chord, we do what's called first inversion. That's our first port of call, and instead of starting on the root being the E, we're going to start on the G. And now what's going to happen is this E is going to actually shift up an octave from here to here. And now instead of going E, G, B, okay, root, third, fifth, it's now going to go G, B, E. And this is what's known as first inversion. And you notice that that root skips up an octave, and we have G, B, E. And we immediately have an idea for a lick, because we can go. So what we've basically done is played first inversion E minor triad. And we've already got something musical there. Okay, so what's going to happen now is we're going to do second inversion. So we're going to start on the B, being the fifth. And what's going to happen is we're going to go B, E, G. Now what you'll notice is this E has skipped up an octave, but this G has also skipped up an octave. Okay, so now on one string, if we chose to, or to make it a little bit more musical, I just like to add those bends because it just takes it away from standard sinus, kind of sounding, which can still be nice, if you've got a nice effect on it or a little bit of tremolo arm or whatever. Now, there's a few basic things that we could do here. For example, we could do a little bending sequence where we could go root, third, bend to the fifth. We could go third, fifth, bend up to the root, and then we could go just as we did just now. So we have now, the nice thing about adding a little bit of scale at the end there is it kind of grounds it again, especially in rock music, which is, I like to play a lot of rock music, and I do. But I think even in other styles such as jazz, something normal to the ears can bring it back down to earth. So you can have something like this. Actually, I played a D, but it doesn't matter. And then just kind of grounds it again. Okay, so what other things can we do here? Well, this sequencing thing can pretty much go on forever, because if we start the arpeggio, the triad here. So what I did there was I played root position, first inversion, but instead of going straight to the E, I slid to it. Okay, then second inversion. Again, I could have. So now we have that variation. So, that shows you what you can do. And I want to make one thing really clear. What I do tend to hear when a lot of people are using these kind of triad inversions is they don't mix up the rhythm. And that is really important. I think maybe because it comes from classical, I don't really know why it is, but you'll tend to hear this kind of, which is fine, it sounds okay, but if you add a little bit of rhythm to it, it will actually kind of disguise the sort of symmetry. I don't exactly know what the word is, but instead of going duck, 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 duck like that, you can go. And you notice I ran into it there. I mean, and again, these triads and these inversions are kind of everywhere. I'm going to go into that in a second, but like for example here, Same thing. So we go in root position. Okay, and we could have gone. Then we have first inversion. Then we have second inversion. So there we've got a nice lick. Okay. And we don't have to do these in a row. For example, you could play first inversion and then play a little bit of scale, then play second inversion, then play a little bit of scale, and then do, root position inversion, bit of scale, first inversion, bit of scale, second inversion, bit of scale. In other words, here's the first, the root position inversion. First inversion, second inversion. And we're kind of almost covering it up and not making it seem so obvious, but it still sounds very musical instead of it being, you know? And then obviously eventually you just start thinking about music and you're not really necessarily thinking about whether it's this or it's that or it's a root position or a first inversion or a second inversion. You're just basically taking these ideas, letting them kind of sink or dissolve into your playing, and then eventually you just play. That's generally the idea.